everybody, it's Kelly with Kellyscards.ca, and I thought I'd do a quick review video of this brush I bought to try stenciling with. This is just a regular brush, and I just thought the shape of it was very similar to the stencil brush, and I didn't want to actually have to order a stencil brush and wait for it in the mail. So I thought I'd pick up this again. This was about $8 or so at Walmart. So what I'd like to try doing is bringing in some of my stencils. This is my favorite thing stencil, and this is their stencil all lined up. Let's see how this stencil brush does. So I've just got my stencil ready, and I'm going to tape it down with some of this micropore tape so that the stencil won't move. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to rub it across the ink pad. I've picked out this picked raspberry. To start out, I'm just going to rub the brush back and forth on the ink pad, and as you can see, there is ink getting onto the pad. Now, just like the ink dauber, you want to come in from the outsides so you don't have a big dark blotch right onto your paper. So I'm just going to brush up with the stencil, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to come from the top down on the other side. And I'm going to go back on the bottom again, and then one from up. So now I just have to wash my brush. So what I've done is I've gone to the car aisle actually in Walmart, or pretty much any car aisle in any home improvement store, and bought a piece of a chamois. Now you can buy a big piece of chamois for about $10, and you can cut it into these little squares and have about 10 of them. And this is really a great tip if you want to save money but have something like this to rub your ink on and your stamps. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it down and I'm going to rub my brush back and forth on the chamois to try to get some of this ink off. And just to make sure I've got it all off, I'm just going to rub it on another piece of paper, and it's coming out white, so it must be clean. If you go back and forth like this will help the brush dry just a little bit from using the wet chamois. So I'm going to add another color to this stencil, and I'm going to add this peacock feathers. Again, brushing it over the top and then coming in from the top of the stencil. This way, coming in the top, the darkest part is on the outside and not in the middle. If I were to start brushing in the middle, I would have it all dark inside the middle, and it wouldn't look even. This way, it's going to look more even. So now that I've done that color, I'm going to again bring my little chamois piece in and just rub this back and forth. And I'm really impressed with this brush. I think that there's so many things on the market that you can find products very similar to ones made for card making and inking and scrapbooking and all of that. So going into my third color, I've got this Mermaid Lagoon. And again, I'm just going to go over the top of the ink pad and then come in from the top. And I might put a little bit of a heavier amount on this one. It and peacock colors are very similar. And again, go in from the top, or the bottom I should say. Try to blend these colors, and I'm going to try to overlay a little bit onto those peacock colors so that it kind of blends in together. So the true magic happens when you take your stencil off and reveal what you've stenciled. And this is what it looks like. I think it looks pretty good. It came out quite even, and I think this brush is a winner. It's easy to clean with just a little chamois and a little bit of water on the chamois. And as you can see, it comes off quite easy. It seems to be not that bad for a quality brush. So I thought I'd make a card out of this piece we use the striped stencil on. And I grabbed a card base, and I already put my new Lawn Fawn dies already on my magnetic sheet. I've used the balloon dies to die cut some balloons, and I have used the sentiment from my new Sunshine stamp set from Jelly Bean that I showed in the haul, and I've embossed with white embossing powder, and I'm going to put this card together. So this will go quick now that we have a good background started, and I'm just going to use my little Xyron runner here to adhere this to the card base. And now that I have on there, what my idea is to arrange the balloons and then to have some popped up so it will look dimensional. So I've arranged my balloons into this order, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start adhering them down. I'm going to pull this blue one out, and this one is going to be flat. So I'm just going to tuck this one back in. And I want to make sure that it is centered. Now for these two balloons, I'm going to use some thinner pop dots to pop them up. And I'm going to add this one here now. Now I'm going to take the pink one and I'm going to do the same. And these pop dots are the thinner pop dots that I have. So I'm going to add that one a little bit lower, and then these two I'm going to put up on these pop dots, which are probably the thickest ones I have. So to add the strings for the balloons, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some black thread, and I'm just going to tie to the end of the teal balloon. And then once I've done that, I'm going to just trim off the extra there, and I'll be able to now do the pink balloon. For the other balloons, what I'm going to do is take some of the same pop dots I used on this balloon, and I'm just going to sneak in behind here and add another string on the pop dot so that it will look like it's coming from the balloon in behind, and then I will do the same for the other two balloons. There, I've got all my strings on. For the balloon ends, all I've done is I've twisted the threads together, and I'm going to hold them down, and I'm going to take a piece of tape and just tape them down so they won't move. We can now see that the tape is holding the threads down, and bringing the sentiment in, it will cover up where the tape is. I kind of like the black strings coming underneath the sentiment, so what I'm going to do is just cut the edge off there, and now we will bring our sentiment in, and I think that is going to look great. So to keep this consistent, I'm going to also pop this up with pop dots. I'm going to use these thicker pop dots. There, now that we've got all those pop dots off, we can flip this over and add this to the card. There, and I think this was a really fun card to make using some of my new products. I really like this card. I like the balloon ends. I like using the thread, and I can't wait to use these balloon dies more, as well as the stencil brush. I think it just turned out to be a great background, and I can see using it again and again. So there, I hope you enjoyed my little review of this brush. Again, this is the company. It is the round brush, and it's got a variety of uses, but the one thing I thought of when I saw this brush was the stencil brush that seems to be going crazy on the card market today. So if you want, you could grab this brush from Walmart or a paint store, and this is going to be very similar to the stencil brushes that are out there. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial using the stencil brush I received in my last haul and the Lawn Fawn balloon dies. as well as this jelly bean stamp set, this sunshine stamp set. I can't wait to use these dies more. I really think this is going to be a lot of fun adding balloons to the cards. I really like how this card turned out, and again using the stencil brush. So I hope you enjoyed this video. There'll be more videos on the way. You can check out my website at Kellyscards.ca, and thanks so much for watching.